Guardian do be having cake, though. That cake, though. All right, here we go.
Strand flows through you as it flows through everything. Now is the time to lean into using Strand, not back away from it.
Oh. What the hell was that? The Broodweaver. Yeah, that was... What the fuck? Oh, yeah, I remember those from last week. That's awesome. It's like little strand worms. All right, Titan do be punching. Berserker. Oh, what the hell is that? Like a shattered... No, not a shatter dive, like a thunder crash. Oh, here comes a little hunter action here. The Red Runner. It's like just whipping people, bro. That's really actually cool.
Embrace where the current
Oh,
takes
it's so
you.
weird. What the hell was that? What was that? There's so much going on right now. This is hard to concentrate and focus. All right. Guardians, prepare to unlock the mysteries of Strand. In Lightfall, players will gain access to a brand new elemental power to add to the current lineup of Void, Arc Solar, and Stasis. Yeah, we know that. Strand will offer players exciting new abilities and powers to dominate the battlefield, along with new wrinkles that promise to change the way Guardians think about traversal and combat. Just checking Twitch chat. All right, good. With Strand, Guardians will be wielding the fabric of the universe in ways that will be a formidable threat to anyone who stands in their way, Guardian. The Strand trailer, okay, we just watched that. Great. Here, we're taking a deeper look into what players can expect from Strand, including a class-by-class breakdown of how each Guardian class will be plucking at the strings of the universe to play sweet, destructive music. All right, from the neon-drenched streets of Neptune's secret city of Neomuna to Guardians soaring through the sky by grappling an enemy spaceship, it's been clear from the start that Lightfall, it's just built different, chat. Just checking Twitch. Okay. Where was I? Yes, things are coming to a head in the penultimate chapter of the Light and Darkness saga, but Lightfall's influences and inspirations prove that there have been plenty of room for the team to let loose, to reveal in their creativity and craft, and to have a little fun. One of the touchstones the dev team drew from was the bombast and flair of 1980s action cinema. I kind of get that vibe with all the neon and the... It's like, I kind of get that. You kind of get that? I kind of get that. Think of an era of film where no explosion was too big and no action set piece was too over the top. That aesthetic informed much of Lightfall's tone, and it certainly had a big influence on Strand itself, even before it was formerly known as Strand. The team had many concepts for Damage Type 5, as it was originally called in development, before aligning on the feature set and lore that brought it to life. We had a couple of front-runner concepts for a while, said Kevin Yanes. Part of my desire was to have something more astral in the game. Strand also aligned really well to the fantasy of the product, the 80s action hero. Amazing. As Yanis puts it, there wasn't a single aha moment where all the threads of Strand fell neatly into place. Instead, it was a result of continuous dialogue with the team about what would make for exciting gameplay, what would make sense from a narrative standpoint, and how they could make those ideas manifest in the game. Throughout these discussions, Damage Type 5 morphed into something a bit more specific, then called Dark Telekinesis, interesting, which evolved further, eventually manifesting into what you see today. We had lots of conversations around where the Strand concept known as weaves came from, and trying to reinforce the physical language for how it manifests and how it looks to make it feel like it was from the same family as Stasis. The more the team talked, the more the concepts and evocative language that describes Strand, with terms and descriptions like weaves, tangles, and universal strings of consciousness came to be. It's everyone building on everyone's ideas, said designer Eric Smith. How we choose to implement these things affect how we talk about it and vice versa. like weaving objects instead of spawning objects or summoning objects. It becomes part of the aesthetic. All right, to understand Strand, why don't we first start with some vocab? Oh, we got new vocab, baby. Here we go. All right, creating an object with Strand is weaving. Defeating an enemy affected by Strand will unravel them, disconnecting their life force from the weave and creating a tangle. Okay. Left behind after a Strand debuffed enemy is defeated, a tangle is a swirling bundle of Strand fibers. These bundles of Strand explode when shot, causing area damage to nearby enemies. Guardians can also pick up tangles and throw them to deadly effect. On the debuff side, 3 new terms to know. This is really important. Suspend, Unravel, Sever. Suspend. A suspended PvE enemy is lifted off the ground for a brief duration and is essentially disabled. In PvP, suspended players are lifted on that's really funny. It works in PvP. They're lifted off the ground, but they can still move, albeit slowly, and fire their weapons to fight back. Okay, we definitely saw a bunch of that in the trailer, hitting someone with a Strand ability, and they kind of get lifted up. I think the Titan kind of Khepri rally barricade did that to a couple of enemies. Probably not Khepri, but I'm calling it Khepri. Unravel. Attacking an Unravel enemy will cause threads to burst out of the target. Cause threads to burst out of the target and attack other nearby targets. Got it. Was that the Warlock super almost? Once hit, that target will also become unraveled. I think we definitely saw that a couple times in the trailer. Sever. A severed enemy is less capable of affecting the material world, reducing their damage output as a result. The major buff coming with Strand is Woven Mail. With that ability, the Guardian is sheathed in a protective mesh of Strand matter, reducing incoming damage. We definitely saw that in the exotic trailer. You remember the exotic trailer? The Hunter helmet. The Hunter did something, and they were covered like head to toe in green, weird, woven Strand-like material. Note that in PvP, Woven Mail will reduce damage taken on the body. Head damage and melee damage will continue as normal. Ah, that is interesting. So, you know what? That's kind of clever, actually, because I think Bungie knows how many people right now are complaining about Titan Barricade, Titan Overshield via the Bastion aspect. Like just having repeated protection head to toe is kind of annoying. So it'll improve your body protection, but it won't prevent extra damage taken if you get shot in the head. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting concept. It's kind of a dope picture right there. All right, Thwip. One of the most exciting new abilities in Guardian Strand is the Grapple. With that ability, players can press the grenade button and their Guardian will weave a hook from Strand matter, which I can't wait to grapple, which they can grab onto an anchor point. The grappling hook will then begin contracting, pulling the Guardian along. Strand's grapple can create its own grapple points out of thin air, so you can always propel yourself through the sky, even if there's not a solid surface to latch onto. Really like that, by the way. Guardians will also be able to execute melee strikes during or at the end of a grapple, known as a grapple melee, which deal bonus damage, okay? Unravel an enemy and push them back. So kind of like a grapple shoulder charge. When we were developing the concept around ropes and string, we felt that I looked at the side to see how far into the article we were. My bad. When we were developing the concept around ropes and string, we felt like it was the perfect opportunity to add grapple into the game. You never want to shoehorn something for the sake of interaction that isn't natural. It has to be the right time, the right situation. The stars aligned for something that like that here. Kevin Yanis said Strand really came to life for him when the team started seeing the power of the grapple when combined with other elements of Strand. When we got things like Tangles online, we started realizing that the gameplay here is incredibly novel, interesting, and new when you have to do all these quick context switches between grappling and slamming and throwing a tangle. All these things can happen in quick succession and that reward the player for having high APM. Oh, interesting. Which is not really a thing we have had in the game at all before. I'm interesting. I'm wondering if the PvP folk, or I guess the PvE speedrunners, are Are their spider senses tingling a little bit by reading about that sentence regarding APM? Smith picks up that thought and runs with it. I defeat an enemy with my melee ability, and they unwind into a tangle. I grapple onto the tangle, which refunds my grapple, interesting, and snatch the tangle out of midair. I then hurl the tangle at a group of enemies at a distance, grappling onto the tangle again while it flies and pulls me through the air behind it. As the tangle nears a group of enemies, I slam down out of my grapple to suspend a lone enemy who split off from the group when the tangle slams into the rest of the group and explodes. There's a lot of these really cool dynamic interactions built into Strand, and that makes it feel unique. That does seem cool. I am kind of wondering if that seems maybe too ability spam heavy. Just a minor concern, not trying to complain already. Just cool your jets, just thinking out loud. From the start, these new mobility options will change the way you play. Interesting. But it doesn't end there. Each Guardian class will interact with and wield Strand in a unique way, with new abilities and powerful perks to explore and customize. Here how it breaks down. Okay, we got the Broodweaver here. The Warlock is our Strand minion master. When explaining how D2's Masters of All Things will utilize Strand, to understand how Warlocks will bend Strand to their will, you have to first understand Threadlings. Oh man, it's a lot of info. Threadlings are explosive minions woven from Strand matter. The Warlock Broodweaver, being the cerebral type, is more in tune with Threadlings than the other classes. All Threadlings will run forward, jump on enemies, and explode. But only the Warlock Threadlings will return to the Warlock and travel with them if they can't find a target. I love how silly that sounds. Those are all those little threadling worm creatures on the ground, right? Okay. Let's say I have 3 threadlings and I only need 2 of them to defeat an enemy. If I'm a warlock, that last one is going to run back, hop onto me, and condense down into a form that is orbiting me, which is known as perching. Then, the next time I attack an enemy, it will pop off and attack that same enemy, which really gives it the sense of having these minions that are doing my bidding. They love me, and they want to come back and hang out with me. That's fucking amazing, dude. I seriously love that. I love how Bungie always manages to make the warlocks have kind of like a pet or child, like the child of the void gods, or sorry, the child of the old gods, the arc buddy. The warlock is like the pet class. But it's not just in summoning and wielding threadlings that warlocks excel. With their Strand melee attack, warlocks cast Arcane Needle, a deadly projectile which tracks targets, causing high damage and unraveling them upon impact. Warlocks will be able to quickly chain 3 Arcane Needle attacks in a row. Damn. Oh, we're getting Strand Aspect information. Wow, okay. Sheesh. Weaver's Call. On Riftcasts, the Warlock weaves 3 threadling eggs, which hatch into threadlings when they hit a surface. Any perched threadlings are converted into additional eggs. Okay, interesting. Mindspun Invocation. This aspect improves several of the Warlock abilities. Grapple. When you execute a grapple melee, the Warlock weaves 3 threadling eggs from the target. Okay. You can consume your threadling grenade to generate a full complement of perched threadlings. And shackle grenade, you can consume your shackle grenade. What the hell is a shackle grenade? To gain a buff, creating a suspending detonation on every kill. I can't believe they are giving us this much information. Egg. Everybody egg in the chat. Warlock is the confirmed egg class. The Warlock telekinetic abilities culminate with their super Needle Storm, a deadly combination of burst damage and area denial. On cast, the Warlock conjures Strand matter. Oh my god. Okay, into a fusillade of hardened spikes, launching them forward with a wave of their hand. The missiles will stick into enemies and the environment alike before detonating and reweaving themselves into an army of threadlings that will hunt down survivors. Okay, that's exactly what we saw in the trailer from the Warlock Super. Okay. Hunter Threadrunner. While every Strand Guardian class will have access to the grapple, good to know, and the array of mobility options it has, the Hunter takes movement and speed to an entirely new level. From attacking multiple enemies at once while in midair to using a new rope dart weapon that benefits from maximum agility, it's no wonder that playing the Threadrunner has been compared to the thrill of watching a superhero come to life. It definitely looks really interesting. It's kind of like we have Spider-Man at home. The Threadrunner melee attack Threaded Spike has the hunter hurling out a rope that bounces between enemies, damaging and severing them before returning to the hunter. Upon its return, it grants melee energy for each enemy hit. Hunters can catch the rope dart by pressing the melee input button at the right time. Perfecting that timing will earn the player an additional amount of melee energy. Damn. Just like a mini game of if you hit the button at the right time, you get additional benefits. That kind of reminds me of reloading your weapon in Gears of War. 2 Strand Aspects will be available for hunters. Okay, Ensnaring Slam. While in the air, press the air move to input the slam down, suspending all nearby enemies. Okay, I think we saw that in the trailer. This aspect grants an additional grenade charge. Widow's Silk. The hunter's grapple ability creates a persistent grapple tangle when it latches, which fully refunds grenade energy when grappled to. Hunters can use this ability to set up chains of grapple points. Okay, that's automatically the best aspect. That their entire team can use. Oh my God, greatly enhancing their ability to quickly move around in combat and or transverse the environment. Okay, Widow's Silk sounds really, really, really good. Calling it right now, that is going to be the play for people who are heavily into movement, either for, movement teams in PvP, PvE speedrunning. Wow, Widow's Silk sounds really good. I'm just mildly worried about the launch of Stasis. I'm hoping it'll be good, but not as hot as... I'm sorry, the launch of Strand. I'm hoping it'll be good, but not as hot as when Stasis launched. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. The lethal combination of grapple and rope dart converge with the Threadrunner super Silk Strike. When activated, the hunter uses their grapple to freely move throughout the world in third-person view. Oh my God. While also throwing their rope dart to strike down enemies. Hunters will be able to use grapple more often during the super, and the rope dart features both a light and heavy attack. The light attack is meant for single opponents and can be used in the air and on the ground. When on the ground, the hunter can chain attacks seamlessly. Hitting an enemy with the tip of the dart deals bonus damage, and defeating an enemy with it causes the enemy to explode. The heavy attack has the hunter swing the rope dart around in a 360-degree arc, damaging all nearby enemies. As with the light attack, that can be used on the ground or in the air. That sounds really, really fun. Chaotic, hectic, but fun. Titan Berserker. The hulking mass of a guardian stands before a squad of enemies ignoring their paltry taunts. Without warning, gigantic blades made of tightly woven strand matter surround her hands. I can't read. And she leaps into the fray, powerful blades whirling in fury. The Titan's powerful woven gauntlets slice through sores of her foes. Scores. I really can't read. The Titan does things. There you go. Enough of the flavor text. From the start, the fantasy for the strand-wielding Titan Berserker was wild, untamed power. As the subclass name suggests, the Titan uses strand in ways that ensure maximum carnage, with in-your-face attacks that can sever enemies en masse before they are permanently deleted. The Titan's strand melee ability is Frenzied Blade. With the hit of the melee button, the Titan dashes forward and slashes at enemies with their strand arm blades, severing victims and decreasing their damage output. Interesting. I wonder if that comes into play in PvP. With a default set of three charges, Titans can chain these slashes together for maximum offensive power. Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, here's the Titan aspects. Into the fray. Destroying a tangle weaves woven mail into the Titan and nearby allies. Okay, again, remember that woven mail is kind of like that strand body armor. Okay, In addition to reducing damage taken, the aspect also increases the Titan melee energy regeneration while wearing Woven Mail. Okay, that seems like the melee spam overshield build. Drenger's Lash, not sure who that is. When the Titan casts their class ability, the Titan will blast forward a powerful ripple from the trailer. Okay, suspending enemies that are caught in the shockwave path. Cool. Titan Berserker Super Blade Fury sees the Titan dual-wielding fist blades and roaming the battlefield with ill intent. The Super's light attack is a supercharged version of the Frenzied Blade melee attack, and each light attack that connects increases the next attack speed, which tops out after a maximum of 3 hits. In addition, connecting with light attacks also builds energy for the Super's heavy attack with each hit. With the heavy attack, the Titan hurls a pair of projectiles forward that seek out enemies, suspending and damaging them on impact. Oh, yeah. It's interesting that they're only revealing 2. I wonder if there's only 2, or did we read that before? I can't remember. If they're only revealing 2, or if they're only kind of giving us 2 to begin with, and then we get more over time. Unsure. Can't remember if I read that already. Apologies if I did. Elsewhere, Strand will see 3 new grenades, including Grapple, which is controlled with the grenade button. The Threadling grenade splits into 3 projectiles that weave into Threadlings upon impact. The Shackle grenade acts as a bola, detonating in a suspending blast and sending out smaller secondary bolas to suspend nearby enemies. Okay, got it. Finally, it wouldn't be a new element of power in D2 without new fragments. Ooh, okay. All right, yeah, let's check out the fragments. We've only got 4. I'm sure there will be far more. I think that's how they did it with Stasis, right? They only kind of reveal 2, get more over time, only reveal. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Okay, Thread of Ascent. Activating your grenade ability reloads your equipped weapon and grants increased weapon handling and airborne effectiveness for a short time. Okay, that clearly is the go-to pick for anyone who wants to make a grapple build at all. Thread of Fury. Damaging targets with a tangle grants melee energy. That'll probably be pretty good for the Titan. Thread of Finality. Finishers generate Threadlings. There's the Warlock one. Thread of Warding. Picking up an Orb of Power grants Woven Mail. That one might be interesting. Already trying to think about PvE builds to maximize the potential of Woven Mail, because that sounds pretty good. From enemies seeking Threadling minions to bombastic supers to game-changing new mobility options, Strand is bringing a host of unique abilities to every Guardian's arsenal. Prepare to conjure and weave for yourself in D2 Lightfall on February 28th. Damn. A lot of good info right there. Thank you for watching today's live reaction, which we recorded on Twitch. A lot of new information coming in D2 Lightfall. Swing by the Twitch chat sometime and talk to me about it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.